Recorded Books and One-Click Digital present The Nightmare Stacks by Charles Stross. Narrated by Gideon Emery. Treason doth never prosper. What's the reason? Why, if it prosper, none dare call it treason. John Harrington, 16th century. No one would have believed in the last years of the 19th century that this world was being watched keenly and closely by intelligences greater than man's, and yet as mortal as his own. That as men busied themselves about their various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied, perhaps almost as narrowly as a man with a microscope might scrutinize the transient creatures that swarm and multiply in a drop of water. With infinite complacency, men went to and fro over this globe about their little affairs. No one gave a thought to the older worlds of space as sources of human danger. Yet across the gulf of space, minds that are to our minds as ours are to those of the beasts that perish, intellects vast and cool and unsympathetic, regarded this earth with envious eyes, and slowly and surely drew their plans against us. H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds. Part 1. Relocation Plans. Chapter 1. Oh, I do like to be beside the seaside. A vampire is haunting Whitby. It's traditional. It's an hour after dusk on a Saturday evening 4 weeks before the spring Gothic festival. Alex the vampire strolls along the seafront, his hands thrust deep into the pockets of his tweed jacket. There's a chill breeze blowing on shore, and he has the pavement to himself as he walks, eyes downcast and chin tucked into his chest, lost in thought. What profound insight does the creature of the night contemplate as he paces along the north promenade beside the beach, opposite a row of moonlit houses? What ancient wisdom, what hideous secrets haunt the conscience of the undying? Let's take a look inside his head. Alex is fretting about his Form P764 Employee Travel and Subsistence Claim, which he will have to fill out once he returns to his cramped room in a local bed and breakfast. The form looms as large and sinister in his mind's eye as a vision of his own lichen-stained gravestone. Nevertheless, it provides a welcome distraction from the eldritch, undead horror that is his student loan company statement. The SLC seem remarkably unwilling to countenance the possibility that in moving from his last job in software development at a merchant bank to a career in the civil service, he might have taken a 70% pay cut, and their demands are becoming increasingly unreasonable and threatening. And that, in turn, pales into insignificance compared to the worst dread of all, how he is going to explain everything that has happened in the past few months to his parents. Or at least those bits that aren't classified government secrets. Alex hasn't been a vampire for very long, and he isn't very good at it yet. But at least he's still alive, if that's the right word for his condition, unlike several other members of his brood. The tides are coming in, along with the clouds. The wind is chilly on his skin, so Alex turns and begins to retrace his path towards the steps up the high street, striding past the pavilion and the whalebone arch, past shuttered cafes and the museum. He walks towards the cliffside, wondering if he's made a mistake. He's not sure, if he's honest with himself, that coming to Whitby was the right thing to do. He's supposed to be in Leeds, where he'll be working for the next few weeks. Someone in travel had booked him a seat on a Friday afternoon train, the better to enable him to make it to the office at 9 o'clock sharp on Monday. They obviously hadn't got the memo about flexi-time hours and persons of hemophagy. Spending the weekend in Whitby was entirely his own idea. He's never visited the small coastal village before. Indeed, he only knows about it for 2 reasons. Whitby is famous from the novel Dracula, as the harbour where the ghost ship Demeter comes aground, and more recently, it plays host to a number of goth festivals, themselves attracted to the village because of its famous fang-infested foreshore. Why Whitby, if not because of the obvious cliché? For Alex is not a goth. Well, Whitby has one other advantage. It's not close enough to his home city that there's any risk of him running into his parents or younger sister by accident. Whitby is Alex's excuse for not being in Leeds while he's not working, and not being in Leeds is his excuse for not visiting his family. And not visiting his family makes it a whole lot easier not to tell them about the V word, which is an awkwardness he's been grappling with in ever-increasing discomfort for months now. The season for goths and their steampunk siblings may not have arrived, but Whitby isn't entirely devoid of the flagrantly ahistorical. There's a group of drama students staying in one of the B&Bs on the high street, and as he's passing it, the front doors burst open. Alex suddenly finds himself adrift in a sea of Mina Harkers and Abraham Van Helsings, with a trio of diaphanously clad brides of Dracula eddying around him. They giggle and laugh at some private joke as they swish past, bringing a flush to Alex's cheeks. He has a bad case of wandering male gaze, a side effect of his monastic upbringing.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.